The movie The Wizard of Oz is an art that rejects the tradition and runs away from the realistic representation of nature and accepts the concept of its beauty and its own existence in the story. The film takes place in Kansas in the 1900s, where a character named Dorothy lives in with her aunt in a farm along with 3 other farmers who help out. The exposition of this movie is set in black and white, in the first half of the movie, as it's supposed to show you the outside of the world in Kansas. We introduce Dorothy, Toto, and Auntie Anne, and the story takes a turn when a tornado starts to brew. She gets into her room, but gets hit in the head by debris. The exciting incident comes in when her house drops on the Wicked Witch of the East. The stylistic of illusionism really kicks in when Dorothy opens the door and the film turns from black and white to color. The whole world she's in is not like our world in reality, and even mentions it to herself that she's not in Kansas no more. The Wicked Witch of the West comes in with red smoke in Munchkinland and wants to get back her ruby slippers from Dorothy because the shoes from the Wicked Witch of the East disappeared and the slippers went to her. She then follows the yellow brick road and is off on her journey. The costume and makeup are colorful and it really stands out from Dorothy herself. The whole concept of the movie afterwards is to follow the yellow brick road and meet the Great Oz. Everything in the film seems to be illusionism because, as you are watching the movie, you see that the film is filmed in a set. It doesn't take you itself seriously, but you feel you're in it. This does take you away from seeing it as a movie, as though you can relate to it, but it still keeps you in because the beauty in these characters are so dynamic that it makes you want to root for Dorothy, even though she's not real. They come to a face-off when they get to Emerald City, and they're greeted by the great and powerful Oz. He then asks the gang to defeat the Wicked Witch of the West and give him her broomstick in order to get what he wants from him. They went off to her castle, but Dorothy is captured by the flying monkeys ordered by the witch and cages her. You can see Emerald City with his matte painting in the background that awes the audience. The psychological aspect of it is that it feels like a fantasy world, but at the same time for real to you. You see the character, the grass looks fake, and the backdrop is just a wall. It feels as if it's on its own little world, or in this case, a set. That is the illusionistic aspect of this movie, from its colors to costume and its weird out of its playset. It exaggerates a lot as we see it as real for her in the land of Oz. There's no such thing as witches or emerald cities, but it looks really amazing. The obligatory moment happens when they went off to the castle, but Dorothy is captured by the flying monkeys. The climax then sets in when Dorothy has no hope in getting out of this tight situation, and the gang suddenly comes in the nick of time and saves Dorothy from death. The Deus Ex Machina occurs when the scarecrow is on fire from the witch, and Dorothy accidentally splashes water from a bucket to the witch and starts to melt. This really sets off as an illusionistic film as the witch melts away to nothing but her wardrobe. The following act kicks in when the Tin Man, Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion all got what they wanted, and Dorothy was able to get back home with the help of the Good Witch of the North by kicking her heels 3 times and saying, "There's no place like home," and wakes up in her room with Auntie Anne and the 3 farmers beside her bed waiting for her to wake up, and she realizes that all is just a dream, setting to the audience with a restrictive narrative as we follow along with the characters and finally figure out that nothing more than in her head.